Mm, 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 mm. All right, I think we're good now. We are connected. Good evening, everyone. And it's Monday, fun day. And on Mondays, all roads lead to book club. And why is book club so important? I'm getting ready to tell you why. My name is Nina Moore, and I know that I'm about 2 minutes early. I want to give time for people to actually get logged on to the live. I know that we're live here on Zoom, and we're also live on YouTube. And I get so excited about Mondays. I'm very excited about this book and where we are in the book. We actually just finished chapter 6, which was the law of vibration and attraction, and it was more than wonderful. And so I'm super, not only am I super excited about being here, but I'm excited because what I've learned through my years in of investing time in personal development and growth is that you're never going to earn more than you learn. And when I began to really invest time in personal development, what began to happen was my income went up. Is there anybody that's listening right now that wants their income to go up? If you're ready for your income to go up, let me see some money signs in the comments, right? And so I learned that a long time ago that we're never ever going to earn more than we learn. Another thing that I learned early on in my career of becoming a full-time, like full-time entrepreneur, and then as a full-time entrepreneur, and then being able to retire my husband as well, is that leaders are readers. And that because we as a leader have to have the capacity, the mental capacity, the emotional capacity to be able to manage conflict. That is why you get paid the bigger money. You get paid bigger money when you learn and know how to manage conflict. The more conflict you can handle, the more money you will earn. All right. So leaders are readers. And also, I learned early on in my career, my road and journey to success, is that you cannot pour from an empty cup. And so every single Monday and other days, but especially on Mondays, every single Monday, I am here to fill your cup. And so I will tell you all, nobody does me a favor being on book club. You being on book club is 100% for you. All right. This is not like you're doing me a favor, because I would read and I would study and I would spend time in a book if you weren't here. But now we get to do it together. And God has given me a gift. And the gift that God has given me is that I am able to help you to understand the mind of the author. And I am able to help you fall in love with the process of reading and reigning. Reiging, right? It raining, Reigning. All right, everybody, just make sure I spelled it right. Reigning. So we are here to read and reign together. And what I would really love for you to do is I want you to reach out to somebody and send the link to somebody and say, hey, listen, we're on book club and I want you to come and partner with me on book club. At the very end of this book club, let me give you some housekeeping so that you don't just log off. I'm generally going to log off of our YouTube, and then we're going to end up having a few intimate moments together at the end of book club so that you don't have to log off. All right. And so I'm probably going to need my husband to come in here and manage. I think I'm a little blurry. Hold on, y'all. Let me see. Let me see. Is that better? I think I fixed it. All right, that's much better now. I was a little bit blurry, so I did it. I did it. Right, and I think I just all it was a little tweak. And you know what's so crazy? Every time there's something spiritual that always happens. So imagine that I couldn't see clearly, and I couldn't see clearly, and it just needed a little tweak. I didn't have to shut the whole Zoom down or anything like that. All it took was a little tweak. Sometimes we're just not on the right frequency, right? And now that we're on the right frequency, I can see clearly now. The rain has come. All right, so I am so excited to be here, and I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I'm tired. My body is tired. My voice is tired, but I am committed to your personal development and growth, and I am committed to seeing it through. I am a stickler for you finish what you started. Right, that we finish what we started, and we are going to get through this book. I have a lot of travel that's coming up, and so every day that I can be live with us is very, very important for me to be 100% present on the days that I can be. So we are currently reading Born Rich by Bob Proctor. That is my mentor in my head. All right, I've never I've never met Bob Proctor, but Bob is my mentor in my head. Okay, I've read a lot of Bob Proctor books. I have listened to a lot of Bob Proctor audios. I have studied, I mean, literally have spent time pouring this information into me. It puts you in a different mind frame. All right. And in order for your money to go up, our mind got to go up. So this book is right on time. This is about maximizing your awesome potential. Now, let me help to explain to you what this book actually means and what I want you all to do that have not been with us since the beginning of this book. What we did was we actually looked up the definition of these two words. So for those of you that have come on a little bit later and you weren't here when we looked up the definition of these two words, what I want you to do is I want you to look up the definition of the word born and I want you to look up the definition of the word rich. And here's what I want you to understand about this book. This book is teaching us, Nikki, how you doing? Answer that. This book is teaching us that everything that we need is already inside of us. You don't have to go looking externally for anything. What this book is teaching us to do is to rearrange what's already there. Everybody got that? And so when you understand that you were born rich, you're already rich. All you're doing right now is waiting for everything to kind of come together for it all to manifest, which is why book club is so important because it helps you to have the mind frame for success and elevation. Is there anybody that's ready for success and elevation? Let me tell y'all something. See, it was destined for me to be a multimillionaire before being a multimillionaire. I'm not looking to go look to be a multimillionaire. No, I was born a multimillionaire. What had to catch up was me. My mind had to catch up. Some of y'all need to catch that. I am not on a journey to be y'all get it? I'm not on a journey to be a billionaire. I was born a billionaire. Do we understand? I was born a business owner. Like I remember as a kid telling my dad how rich I was going to be. Now, I didn't know the steps that I was going to have to take, but I was born rich. You were born rich. You were already born that way. And now what has to happen is we've got to undo years of negative talk, negative self-talk, negative self-perception, environmental cancers, right? From being around people who's just in their environment, because environment is not always just location. As our pastor said yesterday, he said environment is even, it's where you are here. That's the environment. Because here's the deal. You can be in an environment that's not so pristine, but your mind doesn't have to be in that environment. So I noticed that there are some people that are incarcerated that are just as free as ever. But there are people that are not behind bars that are more incarcerated than the people that are behind bars. There are people that are not physically handicapped, but they are more handicapped than people that are physically handicapped. See, after I went to Dallas to an AMP event, an ANMP event, and I saw a man with no legs walk the stage. See, and some of y'all probably think that I'm joking when I say it. No, Pastor Sean, I saw a man in Dallas walk a stage with no legs. I'll tell y'all his name later. Okay, so we're reading Born Rich by Bob Proctor. We're on chapter 7. I like the number 7. It's one of my favorite numbers, right? I like 7s and 3s. And the chapter is called The Risk Takers. Uh-oh. 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 Everybody just get ready, 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 get ready. This called everybody just type in uh-oh. Type in uh-oh in the comments. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. As they used to say was on Scooby-Doo, ruh-roh. Right? Everybody used to say ruh-roh. The risk takers. All right. So the days of defending, oh my goodness. The days of defending your present possessions and positions are gone forever. Now, this chapter gonna start off with the first sentence like punching you in the face, punching us in the face. All right, so the days of defending your present possessions and positions are gone forever. From this day forward, you will never have to concern yourself with such problematic issues as maintaining your present job or keeping up your current standard of living. Instead, you will put the things which can go wrong on the defensive, and you will put the things which must go right in ready formation for the attack. Okay, let's unpack that. Let's unpack that. Let me help y'all understand. We're gonna unpack that a little bit. Okay. So it is it is life that yes, something could go wrong, right? Meaning the tire can go flat, meaning the washer can break down, meaning people can get into a car, God forbid, but y'all understand what I'm saying, right? That there are just things in life that are just the things that when life be lifing. Everybody got me on that? But this is what this says. Instead, you will put the things which can go wrong on the defensive. Basically, I know that things can go wrong. So because I know that things can go wrong, I have to live in a space where no, I'm not expecting or I'm not trying to draw wrong to me, but I'm in understanding that life be lifing. And that sometimes life just gonna life. But I will put the things which must go right in ready formation for attack. So what does that mean? That means that everything that must go right, what I've got to do now is I got to put that in place to make sure that when something goes wrong, I'm ready to attack with what must be right. So what does that mean? That means that yeah, life be lifing. But does it mean that I quit because life be lifing? No, because I know that life gonna life, because I know that life gonna life, maybe I'll do this other thing that might draw me some extra income because money answers all things. Do you understand what I'm saying about putting yourself? It says put the right things. It says put the things which must go right in ready formation for the attack. So I don't wait for something to go wrong. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Does everybody understand what that means? All right. So basically, the book is saying if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. All right. As of today, it says, as of today, you're a dynamic, vigorous risk taker. I need everybody to say it. I am a risk taker. Say it loud. I am a risk taker. We got to be able to say that. And it's whose eyes are always turned toward your strengths and assets rather than toward your weaknesses and liabilities. We are not supposed to focus on our weaknesses. We are supposed to focus on what we do well. That's where you put your focus on, because when you focus on what you do well, what you don't do well is minute. It's not a big thing. When you focus on what you do well. So maybe I don't sing well, but I'm a heck of an organizer. Maybe I don't. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Maybe I'm not the best cook, but I could sure clean up a kitchen after somebody is a sous chef. Maybe I'm not y'all get it? So I'm a risk taker and I'm going to focus now on what I do well. All right? Henceforth, you will wake up in the morning thinking only of ways to do the things you want to do rather than thinking only of ways to do the things, thinking of ways you want to do rather than think of all the reasons why you cannot do those things. So when you focus on what you're good at, you wake up wanting to do it. So, okay, I wasn't really good at speaking for a long time. As a matter of fact, if you asked me to speak, it was so bad. It was so bad that I would tell you, well, I'm really not the speaker. See, my brother, he's the speaker. I'm the singer. Just give me the mic. I'll sing. He's the speaker. What I was really doing was making excuses, because what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to stretch myself to do something better. Here's when I understood Pastor Sean, Antoinette, Nichelle, Miss Brenda, Sheila. I understood that I actually was a very dynamic speaker when I stopped comparing myself to my brother, who was a great speaker. Because what I really began to understand was, although he was like summa cum laude with the way that he talked, right? And so eloquent with his words. Antoinette know what I'm talking about. My brother just so eloquent with his words, and preach his face off and all of those things. And I was like, I don't talk like him. But what I realize is there's a group of people that he can't reach because he's so eloquent. And there's a group of people that I can reach because I just keep it raw and real. And I may not dot all my I's and cross all my T's. But what they understand about when it comes from me is that it comes from my heart, not just my head. Somebody going to get that. So the moment that I stop comparing myself to someone that speaks so soon cum laude, I mean literally, and also my brother is a person who he can read a book and then it just sounds like he can recite the whole book. He remember everything. Well, I don't remember all that stuff. So you know what I do? I write down notes. Like I have a call tonight at 8 o'clock. I was in here writing my notes for the call because I'm going to forget. And I know I'm going to forget. So does it make it any less powerful that I wrote notes to keep right here so that I can say what I need to say and not forget than the person that may not need a note? It doesn't make it any less powerful. No, because most times you won't even know that I'm reading a note. Somebody going, okay, maybe let me just keep on reading. Let me just go back to the book, right? So as of today, you will think repeatedly of the many achievements which you are going to accomplish in the future, and which are vastly superior to anything you have ever done in the past. So everything that we've done before in the past, that was cute. But everything we're going to do in the future is more superior than anything we've done in the past. Clearly, these results can only be obtained if you are first willing to take some kind of risk. Oh, so could it be that we don't really have the level of success that we think we want because as soon as it stops feeling comfortable, we retreat back to what we know? And instead of you do you thank you, Holy Ghost. Do you know what will cause you to earn more money? Do y'all know? Would you like me to tell you what will cause you to earn more money? Acquiring the skill set. That's all it is. So you got some people that are carpenters who are like handymen who just like to tick, 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 the hammer on stuff, fix a couple little things. And then you have people that are master carpenters. Y'all get it? Master carpenters. So you might start off in the kindergarten level. The problem is when it comes to go to first, second, and third grade, you retreat because it's uncomfortable. And it pulls you away from what you know. Because even a first grader can't be the same person in the third grade. And what happens is, especially don't let a mentor come along that might challenge you a little bit. See, I was the bomb diggity in the salon industry, y'all. Y'all couldn't tell me nothing. I had been doing hair for over 20 years at the time, for about 20 years, almost 20 years at the time when I started network marketing. I had been running salons. I had been managing salons. I owned my own salon. So you couldn't tell me nothing. But I realized that the only thing that I brought to my current industry of network marketing was my work ethic. But Pastor Sean, I didn't have the skill set. So I spent 10,000 hours mastering, because it takes 10,000 hours to master anything. I spent 10,000 hours mastering the craft of being a cosmetologist. And then of being I specialized in short haircuts. And then I started specializing in color, right? And I spent the 10,000 hours in doing that. Then I came over into this industry, in this profession of network marketing. And guess what I had to do, Pastor Sean? I had to go to the bottom of the totem pole. And I had to practice and give my 10,000 hours. So I had to listen. Uh-oh. I had to be coachable. Uh-oh. I had to study a new industry. Uh-oh. And although I brought my work ethic over, it still wasn't the same. That's okay. That one was for free. Believe me, once you undertake this process, Once you undertake this process, it won't be long before you start winning and in a big way. That's what the book says. It says you should understand, however, that you become increasingly involved in the risk taking process. You will find yourself forced to draw upon resources that you didn't even realize you possessed. So, what happens? What happens, Mary Fitzgerald, when you get out there on a limb? When you get out there on a limb, you start becoming real creative because you're like, now I don't order these things. Now I got to figure out how I'm gonna sell these things, and you get real creative. You start realizing that you got skills, that you've got talents that you may not have otherwise had until you're pushed out on the limb. But what happens is we don't want to let go of the blankie. We don't want to let go of the pacifier. And we don't even understand. Oh, thank you, Holy Ghost. We don't even understand that just because we don't know a certain thing doesn't make us bad people. It doesn't make us less than. It does it. So here's the deal. A person who is unwilling to learn is worse than a person that just don't know. Because when we can admit that we just don't know, and that maybe I know all of this over here. So Mary Fitzgerald is a principal. She knows all things in education. You come over here to this industry, she's at zero. And what happens is a lot of times pride won't allow us to grow because over here, she's here. Over here, she's here. So this person that in their lane is over here has a hard time doing this. And then what they do is they self-sabotage because, I'm gonna tell y'all another one. In order to grow, you have to be coachable. Like I have mentors, and a lot of my mentors, lean in, y'all, lean in, lean in. A lot of my mentors are younger than me. Uh-oh. Like young enough to be my kids. And oftentimes, now in order for us to grow, we gotta be in a space where somebody can tell us something, right? When we can be taught a new thing and a new way of doing things. Because a lot of times it's just a tweak. And a lot of times my young mentors will call me and tell me to do things just to see if I will. And it takes humility to be that person. One of my mentors called me one night and he said, "Hey, what you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "What you need me to be doing tomorrow?" Oh, because the reality, Mary, is I had plans. But when somebody calls you that's earning $100,000 in 45 minutes, couple mil in a day, and they call you and they say, "Well, what you doing tomorrow?" I knew to say, "Well, what do I need to be doing tomorrow?" Now, when he called me, Pastor Sean, he said, "You need to come to this entrepreneur speakers class." I said, "Oh, okay." I'm sorry. He didn't say it was tomorrow yet. He said, you need to become, he said, "You need to come to this entrepreneur speakers class." I said, "When is it?" He said, "It's tomorrow." Then he said, "Well, what are you doing tomorrow?" And that's when I said, "Well, what do you need me to be doing tomorrow?" And he said, "No, you really need to be in this room tomorrow." I said, "Okay, well, send me the link." I looked at the link and I said, "Oh," and it came with a big old fat price tag of $2,000. It wasn't free. See, Pastor, somebody gonna catch this. Now listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. Now, I was like, well, what he trying to say? Because I mean, I'm a good speaker. I'm already a good speaker. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I'm a good speaker. So I messaged him back and I said, "I'm coming to the event." Now everything in me was like, dang, you called me at 11:30 at night. Like I gotta spend 2,000 tomorrow, like right now for tomorrow, right? I didn't have time to think. I didn't have time to ask. I didn't have time to kumbaya with my husband. "Hey, Paul, do you think I should go to this class?" I said, "Neo just called and said I need to go to this class." He said, "Go." I said, "It's $2,000. He said, "Okay, go." He texted me back and said, "Here, use this code. I'm going to give you 50% off." Because I said yes, but it gets better than that. I had been asking the door to open up, the Lord to open up doors for me to speak. Some of y'all gonna catch this. I had been asking the Lord to open up doors for me to speak, but obviously I wasn't ready. So before the Lord, because I didn't have the capacity to handle it in network marketing, I knew how to speak, but in that realm, I didn't. Somebody gonna catch this in a minute. In their realm, I didn't. So they saw something in me and they wanted to see, was I going to be coachable enough to dumb myself down to come to these classes? Well, I didn't just go to that class. I went to every class that I could get in after that, right? And then I started hosting the classes. But listen to this. Now I am speaking on virtual conferences. I'm hosting their conferences. I am hosting their in-person virtual class with 1,000 people this Saturday. Now I'm here to tell you something. And I'm not here to brag or boast. I'm trying to help you understand how we got to elevate our mind. Pastor Sean, had I not been willing to invest in that speaker's class, it didn't just, it was the thing. It was the thing that opened the door to everything I said I wanted. So could it be that the door wasn't open because I wasn't, before, prior to, I thought I knew it all. I was good. I spoke well. What I need that for? And then I got invited to a private mastermind with a bunch of multi gazillionaires in the room. And when I sat in the room, listen to what Mr. Nehemiah said in front of the room. He said, yeah, when I see talent, I see talent. He said, I know when somebody's good. He said, but if they won't come to Marcus's entrepreneurs class, I won't work with them. He said, because I don't know how to teach you how to speak. That's Marcus. Okay, and let me go back. Let me go back to the book. I don't know who needed to hear that, but that was for free. I don't know. But I'm going to go on back to the book because, so I said it was a test. It was all a test. Somebody caught it. So the book says, at first, this might prove very frightening to you. Yes, I was scared to death sitting up in that room. I felt like a fish out of water because, Mary, I was at the top of my game. I walked into that room, boom. Do we understand? And guess what I did? Guess what I did in that room, Mama Nisi? Guess what I did, Alicia? Guess what I did, Misha? Guess what I did, Sonia? Guess what I did, Chris? I walked into those rooms and I ain't say a word. I ain't say a word. I literally was like a sponge. I didn't tell them nothing. As a matter of fact, it was about maybe 6 or 7 classes in when all of the leaders, all of the instructors, my instructor, Nehemiah, all of them said, Nina, we don't even know what you do. See, you think you got to go telling people what you do. I don't got to tell people I'm a Christian. You know how they know I'm a Christian? You know how they know I'm a Christian? I don't wear a big cross on my chest. Would you like to know how they know I'm a Christian? Because the tree is known by the fruit that it bears. So I don't go telling nobody, and I got these patches, and I got these. Most times in the rooms, guess what they do? They say, Nina, we was watching your content. Yo, what's going on with them patches you got? Or they say, I went to your link. I bought like $400 worth. Because my light is shining. Somebody gonna catch that. Somebody's gonna catch that. My light is shining. And when your light is shining, when my content is out there, my light is shining when I walk into the room, I'm just Nina. Does everybody understand that? But I'm a big darn deal. So this says, at first it's going to feel a little frightening. Nevertheless, you must always remember you will never hear of, read about it, or see anyone who has achieved anything of greatness in his or her own life without first taking some kind of risk. I want y'all to comment again. Take a risk. Take a risk. So As a case in point, consider this monumental risks that all of our great religious leaders have undertaken during the course of our heroic lives. Then stop and reflect upon the enormous risks which all of our great business leaders have also undertaken during their illustrious careers. As you meditate upon these stupendous accomplishments, you will become increasingly aware that you must too become a risk taker in order to develop the greatness that you were born with. So imagine Albert Einstein, risk taker. Noah, risk taker. How crazy does Noah look, Pastor Sean, building an ark and ain't no rain in sight? How crazy do the Wright brothers look when they continue to try to make this flying contraption that many of us get on now? We don't ask no questions. We don't know how the planes operate. But how crazy did they look, Mary, when they decided they were going to put a object in the air, a flying machine that was going to cut people's travel time down and take them from point A to point B because it defied the laws of gravity? How crazy did Ford look when they decided they were going to put a machine on these wheels and automatically it was going to take us from point A to point B faster than on your feet or on a horse? How crazy? How crazy? So that they took the risk. And now anything we want that's going to be great is going to require for us to do what? Take the risk. Moreover, you should understand that no genuine satisfaction in life can ever be attained by you or anyone else who refuses to take the risk. So do you know why some people are just depressed and they sit around like they have no life and they don't know what to do? And you know why they like that? Because they sitting around and their life is on autopilot and they won't just take the risk. They won't dare rip the Band-Aid off. They hate their jobs. They hate their jobs. And they like, but it pays the bills. Oh, but it's killing you. So it's okay to be on this job that pays the bills, but it's killing you. You'd probably be happier working at Walmart packing bags. Because that might even put you in a place. Some of y'all love to talk. Go stand in the line where you can go pack people's bags and talk people's ears off. Because at Walmart, they want you to talk to them. Little old, they come in there, they want people to talk. Imagine how your life would be way more fulfilling. Because are we working to pay the bills or are we working to live in purpose? Oh my goodness. The life of anyone who chooses to live with extreme caution, here it is, will never amount to anything more than a succession of dull, soporific days continuing on without interruption. So you know it's like Methuselah lived 999 years and then died. And guess what they say about Methuselah? Lived, died, nothing in between. For all them years. And you have nothing to show for it. Because you just decided that you're going to live with extreme caution. And I'm going to ask, how's that working out for you? The diving board analogy. To grasp the full implication of what I'm saying, not me, Bob Proctor, consider the following analogy. Cast your mind back to the time when you were a child and recall how much you admired the neighborhood kid who went right up the ladder and dived off the high diving board without any hesitation whatsoever. Then see if you can recall the feelings that you harbored in yourself as you watched him take that first risky leap into the water below. If you are like most of us, you probably lost a little of your own self-respect at that time until finally, out of sheer embarrassment, you two mustered up enough courage to jump. Finally, finally, see if you can recollect how good you felt once you made the plunge and proved to the world that you could do it too. Now that you have taken your mind on this mental journey through your past, bring it forward to the present time. Let it become aware of the legions of men and women today who, like the young child longingly at the high diving board, would dearly love to quit their jobs. Now, I'm going to tell you, I ain't know that was coming up in the book. That they would just love to quit their jobs. I know that was coming in the book. All right. I'm telling y'all, set out on an independent path and do their own thing. But because of their overwhelming fear of failure, these unfortunate people never work up enough courage to step out and take the plunge. And as a result, they miss out on many of the opportunities that life affords us. And what is even sadder, they never get a chance to plumb the depths of their own innate resources. So you never become the person that you're supposed to become because you live a life of extreme caution. And you know what? You know what? Most people are not afraid of failure because guess what? We fail every day. We're not afraid of failure. We're afraid of what other people will think if we fail. Oh, okay, it's okay. I got two amens. It's okay. And they in this room right here. I got two amens. I got two amens. You don't care about failing. We fail every day. Oh, you care about what somebody thinks about you failing. I knew she shouldn't have did. She gonna quit her job. She gonna walk away from the job. And look at her now. Look at her. I knew she wasn't going. Well, how many times did the Wright brothers fail before the plane went in the air? How many times did Thomas Edison have to try and try and try and try and try again? Or we would still be lighting our way with a candle. How many times? So failure, this is what you got to give yourself grace to understand. Failure is the classroom to success. And we don't fail. We don't lose, we learn. And so after each failure, guess what Thomas Edison did? He took some notes about what didn't work and then he tweaked it on the next chance. And every time the Wright brothers plane went down, they tweaked it on the next time. So what they took was they took notes from what failed in the last attempt and they did the next one a little bit different until finally, until finally it went up in the air. Does everybody understand that? This is so good. So it says, risky leap into the water below. If you're then see if you can cross even the things. Finally, if you can recollect how good you feel. Now that you've taken your mind back, let it become aware of the legions of men lost their jobs, but because of their overwhelming fear of failure, these unfortunate people never work up enough courage to step out and take the plunge. As a result, they miss out on all these opportunities that life affords us, and when it is even sadder, they never get a chance to plumb to the depths, right? And then it says then it says afraid that it might lose, since they are afraid they might not make it. Since they are afraid they might not make it, afraid they might lose, afraid they might fall, afraid they might fail, they choose to maintain the status quo and they do nothing. Fear literally cripples us. Cripples us. The irony is that even if a person should assiduously attempt to avoid all risks, he or she will still inevitably end up failing from time to time. But so what? What difference does it really make after all? Failing does not make us a failure, and the only time we do become a failure is when we decide to stop trying anymore. So that person that's sitting there as the person who's extremely cautious, you're continuing to fail because you would dare not even try. Even if we should falter along the way, we never really fail because we always retain the capacity to try once more. I remember as a kid, we used to read this story. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. And we read those books to program us to believe that no matter how tough or no matter how big the hill looked, I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. And we read these stories as a kid and we believed it as a kid. And then something happened. We started living our adult lives. And all of a sudden, failure started to make us feel like we were less than. We started to actually allow ourselves to believe that the failures as an adult are greater than the failures that we had as a child. Because we somehow, in some stupid, crazy world, have allowed people to make us believe that we should be someplace because they believe we should be someplace based on someone else's standards. But what if Nina didn't have the platform that she has now because I didn't have the capacity to have it? And now that I have the capacity to have it all the more, what if now the doors are opening, Pastor Sean, because I now have the capacity? Could it be that I had to fail all of those times or that I had to just be average all of those times until I was willing to financially invest? Let me give y'all one better. Because, see, some of y'all, let me give you one better. So about 2 years ago, I made a decision. I don't even know if it's been 2 years. Maybe it's been about a year and a half because it's actually been moving pretty fast. I made an investment of $10,000. I made an investment of $10,000 into a program that I actually thought I was better than. And I was. Mary, I was better than most of the speakers that were in the program. Some of y'all, I went to an event. My team vended at that event. I bought the table for the team to vend. But what happened, y'all, is the $10,000, Pastor Sean, was for me to sow a seed into what I actually desired. So I sold that $10,000 seed. It wasn't about the class that I was taking. It was about my faith. It was about proximity. It was about putting me in the rooms where people were beginning to notice me outside of my current industry. So it put me in the rooms with people that had nothing to do with what I was doing. And now my voice was beginning to become known because I would dare invest this $10,000. And I knew the person who was running the course said, you're better than all of the people in here. See, but even better than all of the people in there, I didn't have a $10,000 course. Oh, I didn't have a $10,000 course. So then I sold that 10,000. And then I went to another service and Dr. Cindy Trim happened to be at that service, right? And I sold another $1,000 in that service. Out of money, y'all, that I didn't have at the time. See, because when that happened, I had just gone through a thing with a company of mine where they snatched all my income from me. So I didn't have the money to invest. I'm probably still paying it off on one of my credit cards right now. But what I'm looking at now is the rooms that it's putting me in, the proximity it's putting me in, because if you don't think proximity is anything and everything, and if you miss the open window when proximity is offered to you, it may or may not ever come back around again. I am here to tell you that we have to get to a place where taking risk doesn't even require a second thought. When you get the call, could you say, where do you need me to be? Or do you have to say, well, let me think about it. Let me see if I can move. No, where do you need? I did have to then go back and rearrange some things, but I needed to be there. And I made it happen with no excuse. So, even if we should falter along the way, we never really fail because we always retain the capacity to try once more. So Flip Wilson, the famous comedian, what time we got? We got a few more minutes. Flip Wilson, the famous comedian, is the best known for his ability to make people laugh. But here is what he said in at more in at more serious vein about his own experience with the risk-taking process. I fell down and I got up. I fell down and I got up. For 16 years, I fell down and I got up. I did practically nothing else but fall down and get up. Oh, this is so good. Even so, do you think that Flip Wilson ever thought of himself as a failure? You bet your life he didn't. Because if he had, he would never have found the courage to try just one more time. And you and I would probably never have heard his name. You should understand at this juncture that as soon as you seriously set a big goal for yourself, here's the problem. Here's the problem. You all are not setting a goal for yourself that you don't allow yourself no room to retreat. So what happens is this. You got to set a goal for yourself and you got to command yourself not to quit the goal. But because you say this, well, I'll try. When you say the words, I'll try, you've already come in with your mindset. Until it's hard. See, I'll try is not I'll try and see what happens. No, you're saying I'll try until it doesn't feel good. I'll try until somebody tells me no or one too many times. I'll try until I don't like something Nina says. I'll try until they ask me to do something I don't really want to do. I'll try. That's what I'll try means. But do you really think when you look at Steve Harvey, when you look at Tyler Perry, when you look at this young lady, Milano DeRouge, she was in church with us Sunday. She was sitting right in front of us. And Alicia was with us and she said, well, who is that? And I said, girl, that's Milano. She said, I don't know who Milano is. I said, well, Milano, let me tell you the story. She had 2 t-shirts that she created when she started selling shirts out of her car. 2. She would sell one and then make another one. And then sell the other one. She would wear one, sell one, sell it, make another one. She had 1 t-shirt, Chris, to sell at a time. She now owns a 7,000 square foot warehouse here in Georgia. Because she dared to sell 1 t-shirt at a time. She's a major clothing brand. She's never been to college. Her dad was incarcerated. So what's the excuse? She made a decision. She set a goal. So here it is. As soon as you seriously set a big goal for yourself, you are going to become involved in a process of risk-taking that will add a dimension of excitement, indeed, a whole new flavor to the course of your life. At the same time, you should be aware that as you start engaging in more risk-taking behavior, the majority of people will be trying to avoid it at all costs. Instead of taking meaningful risks, they will continue to ensure themselves a series of empty compromises. These compromises will ultimately have the effect of reducing their existence to the level of a meaningless charade. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to leave you all with this. We're going to stop right here so that I'm going to leave you all with this. I'm going to read this and then, no, let me read this next page because then we'll stop at the young millionaires. When setting a big goal, and you should write this down. When setting a big goal, you will encounter 2 paradoxical emotions. 1, a sense of excitement that adds a whole new flavor to your life is one emotion, excitement. 2, a sense of discomfort and resulting risk avoidance. Be willing to tolerate the discomfort until it fades and the big goal feels normal. You got to set a goal that is so scary But as you continue to work towards the goal, guess what happens? It actually starts to feel comfortable and you actually get excited. To understand how this phenomenon operates, consider the people that you know who have compromised when buying their new homes. Why did they compromise? Because they were afraid that they wouldn't be able to make the mortgage payments on the dream home that they truly wanted to live in. Then turn your mind to the veritable armies of individuals who remain in positions at work that they find dull and unrewarding. Why do they stay? Because they fear that they would not be able to cope with the position that they would truly love to tackle. The irony is, of course, if these people would simply put themselves out on a limb by going after that better job, that dream home, or whatever else that they truly desire, they would demand a commensurately better performance from themselves. So, when you don't set a goal, you don't even have to perform any better. You never have to become a better person because you keep settling for average. Oh my goodness. As a result, they would soon discover that the risk they had taken was paying big dividends in all aspects of their life. Oh, this is so good. And I'm going to stop right there. And next week, we're going to start on page 123 with the young millionaires. The young millionaires. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this to all of you who are afraid to set goals because you're looking at the time. If you don't set a goal and you just keep, it's called born rich, and you just keep living every day like as if success is going to punch you in the face, like it's going to come to you. If you never set a goal, your brain doesn't know what to do. Your brain doesn't know what to do. So if you're just operating, especially for those of us that are in business, if you don't, somebody asked me last night, well, I mean, do you really actually set a goal every single day? I said, absolutely, I do. 10 customers a day is my goal. And by the time, because we were up pretty late talking, by the time 2 a.m. hit, I was 4 customers in. I'm already done 10 for the day. But that is because I've set a goal for it. And then I don't just sit back and say, okay, well, I want 10 customers a day. And then I sit there and do nothing. See, because that's the problem. We say we want 10 customers a day or whatever the goal is, and then we sit around and do nothing. That's like saying, you know, I just just need a better job. I'm going to pray to God so I can give me a better job. Oh, okay. And then we sit there and get some cookies and popcorn and soda and sit there watching TV. That's not how that's going to happen. When you go do the work, the results will come. See, you're looking at work that you think I did last night or yesterday or the day before. Oh no. Oh no. The work I've been doing started in 2014. Guess who never quit? Me. Me. I never quit. So what you're seeing now is you're seeing the fruit of the work that I started in 2014 because I set the goal. And actually, because I keep getting at least 10 customers a day, it's too small of a goal. You can't get comfortable. Once you reach the goal, you got to set another one or you get stuck right there. You get stuck right there. After you hit that goal, boom, what's the next goal? So now my goal needs to be 20 customers a day. So I just fixed it. And now I got to stretch. And now I got to do more because what I did to get the 10 customers a day, in order to double that, what I'm doing, it will require more. And that's why most people won't set the goal. Because we know when we set the goal, it requires something from us. So set a bigger goal. Because if you got bigger income goals, you got to set a bigger goal. Or if I got a goal to help more people, then I got to set a bigger goal. Everybody got that? So I already knew that some of y'all, this your first time with us on this book, and y'all came in right on a doozy of a chapter. The Risk Taker. Chapter 7. We're in chapter 7, The Risk Takers. We'll be back here next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I pray to see all of you back on next Monday. As a matter of fact, I pray that we double the number and that we'll get even more people back with us next Monday. So I'm so glad we had this time together. Stay here. I'm going to go ahead and log off for YouTube's sake. So for all of you that are on YouTube, good night and God bless you all. Listen, I want you to pay it forward, do a good deed, and be kind to one another, right? We do have our Vision Mastery call that's going to start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're listening in right now and you don't have that link, make sure you get back to someone and ask them for that link, because it is not this link. I promise back once we hit October, we will be switching all of our calls back to this link, because this is our Zoom link, and this is the link we do all of our calls on. All right. So I love you and God loves you best, right? And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. We're gonna log off of YouTube. We'll see you all soon. 1 second, y'all. Let me log off of YouTube.